Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mental Path Podcast. I'm Dr. Gretchen Guevara, psychiatrist. I'm also a psychotherapist and your guide to practical science-backed strategies that actually work in real life. I'm here to really help you practice ways to feel mentally strong so you can handle day-to-day life and actually feel alive, feel like you can do it. Here's what you might already know about me. I don't believe in one-size-fits-all advice. Look, mental health is always a multi-angle approach. It's your thoughts, your body, and your environment all working together. When we reset across all three, that's when you feel real, lasting change. So today, we're going to look into the top 7 mental health questions people are searching Google right now. I literally just went to Google and typed what are the top 7 mental health questions people asked the past month. And it brought me to topics like brain fog, anxiety spirals, and the question, is this normal or do I need help? So I'll break down the brain science behind what you're feeling, and then I'll give you reset moves so you can actually use them if you are asking one of these questions yourself. Let's get started. The number one question people search on Google this month is, do I have ADHD and why is it so hard to focus? Here's how I think about it. Your brain works like a computer with just many tabs open all the time. Some tabs are important, some are junk pop-ups, and then there's music playing or other apps playing in the background. And sometimes you don't even know what's running behind. That's exactly why focus feels so hard. Now, does that automatically mean ADHD? Well, not always. ADHD usually shows up from childhood and affects multiple areas of life like school, work, and relationships. But focus problems can also come from stress, poor sleep, anxiety, or even depression. Focus lives in your prefrontal cortex. That's the front part of your brain. Some people call it your boss brain. And when you're stressed, tired, or not sleeping well, that boss gets fuzzy, irritable, and has a harder time directing your attention where you want it to go. As adults, it can be a bit complicated getting the first-time diagnosis. Here's how I think about it in my clinic. I really do a comprehensive evaluation. Simply doing that adult ADHD screening scale that you find online is not enough, especially if there's a coexisting depression or anxiety, or even just poor habits or substance use, because all of these situations can affect concentration and focus. Family history can be very helpful because there is a genetic component to this. It's not all genetics though. Your environment plays a big role. I have many parents asking to be evaluated after their kid is actually confirmed to have ADHD. So before you assume ADHD, look at the basics. Is it sleep, stress, nutrition, or hydration issues? Do you have an unrealistic packed calendar or to-do list that's too long? Those mind, body, environment factors can all mimic ADHD symptoms. If your focus issues keep showing up across different parts of your life, then maybe that's when it's time to look for a professional evaluation. Okay, top 2 question. Why do I feel overwhelmed or anxious all the time? Okay, anxiety is like having your foot on the gas and the brake at the same time. That's super hard and confusing. Your body's revved up, but when that anxiety is super high, you're not actually moving anywhere. You're paralyzed. Why does that happen? Your brain's alarm system, that's your amygdala, gets really jumpy. It's supposed to keep you safe, but sometimes it blares even when you're just checking emails or running 5 minutes late. To me, for sure, I feel that way. When this amygdala is overactive, it floods your body with adrenaline. So your thoughts race, your muscles tense up, and even small tasks feel so big. Plus, you really feel that in your body. If you have back-to-back stressors, your nervous system doesn't get a break like a car that's overheating. So again, this is your nervous system in overdrive. The amygdala is on high alert, and your parasympathetic system or your calming nervous system isn't kicking in. Here's a very quick reset move, at least something that you can apply in the moment. Put your hand on your chest, inhale for 4 counts, and exhale slowly for 6. You're signaling your body to flip that relaxed switch. With anxiety, don't just focus on calming thoughts. Look at all 3 angles. Start with the body, maybe that's focusing on your breath or movement, then your mind, minding those spiral interruptions, and checking in with your environment, like reducing overstimulation. That's how you can create a full reset. This increases the chance for your calming nervous system to engage, and you can reground and recenter. Okay, question number 3. What can I do to feel less depressed? Depression, remember, is a medical condition that affects your brain function, which then affects other parts of your body. Depression is linked to low activity in your mood circuits and lower levels of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. These are your brain's feel-good chemicals. That's why it shows up as persisting sadness or changes in sleep, motivation, and appetite that last for weeks at a time. It really lowers the activity of your frontal brain, which you use for planning, looking ahead to the future, focusing, and concentrating. That's why depression can sometimes feel like it's so hard to think. So let's answer the question, what can you do to feel less depressed? Depression isn't just in your head, remember that. It shows up across mind, like your negative thoughts, your body, having low energy or poor sleep, and environment, like feeling isolated or having too much clutter around you. Resetting across all three matters. Remember that micro steps make a big difference. Don't try to fix your whole life in one day. Maybe you can start by taking a 5-minute walk, step outside for sunlight, or text a friend. Those tiny sparks actually help your brain release serotonin and dopamine. Take care of your body, mind your sleep habits, get proper nutrition and exercise, connect with people you trust. You can also engage in safe and healthy activities that you can enjoy. These are only some examples of activity that enhance serotonin and dopamine function. Remember, your body and your mind, they're super connected. So the more you engage in healthy lifestyle, the more your body will feel energized. Again, there's so many ways to feel less depressed. I want to emphasize that your self-talk is very important here. Your thoughts drive your emotions. So practice catching those negative self-talk. Challenge and reframe them. Just like exercise, you can train your brain to move from unhealthy, self-defeating, self-blaming, hopeless patterns and towards healthy thinking patterns, one that's focused on solutions and hope. Throughout this podcast, so now we're on episode 36, I have had many episodes that focus on ways to feel less depressed. So make sure that you look at the list and listen to some of those episodes for more in-depth discussion. Top questions number 4. Why is my memory or concentration so bad? This was really touching on brain fog when I was looking into what people are searching about this topic. Brain fog is absolutely real when your nervous system is flooded with stress hormones like cortisol, or when you're not getting quality sleep. Again, that front part of your brain's focus and memory center gets overloaded. It's like trying to run multiple apps on a phone that's stuck in low power mode. As with the ADHD questions, memory and concentration problems can be caused by so many different things. They can be related to stress, psychiatric diagnosis, substances, or medical causes like metabolic issues or even illnesses. It's so important to really investigate the primary causes so you can address the root problem. And it's usually not just related to one thing. This is one thing that I've always emphasized in all of my podcast episodes, the multi-angle factors of mental health or emotional problems. Memory isn't just mental. It's affected by your body's fuel and environmental demands. That's why multitasking and overcommitted calendars drain you so quickly. Here's one reset move that you can apply. Give your brain what it needs. Maybe it's consistent sleep, real meals, hydration, and pit stops during the day. Even a 2-minute stretch, walk, or breath work clears just enough space for sharper focus. Okay, we have 3 more questions to go. Question number 5. How do I cope with stress or burnout? Again, there are so many episodes in this podcast about this, so make sure you check this out. As a review, burnout is like driving on an empty gas tank with that warning light flashing. You can push a little farther, but eventually the system shuts down. Chronic stress keeps adrenaline and cortisol high. That exhausts both your body and your brain, making even small tasks feel so hard to do. One of my favorite ways to cope with stress and burnout is to make sure I'm consistently checking in with myself so I can address my basic needs as the day goes. You can try resetting with what I call my bookends and pit stops method. You can have a morning bookend, like starting with something grounding before diving into your day. Then having pit stops, like quick resets through the day to regulate your nervous system. That's your breaks. And then finally having an evening bookend, a shutdown ritual that lets your brain know that it's safe to rest. Remember that burnout is never just about work, okay? It's about the mind pushing too hard, the body running on empty, and an environment that doesn't allow real rest. And sometimes that goes beyond our work situation. You need all three angles to recover. Top question number 6. What helps me sleep better? Okay, your brain has a built-in sleep clock. That's your circadian rhythm. It uses light and darkness cues to release melatonin. That's your sleepy chemical. But screens, caffeine, or stress confuse that system. Your brain thinks it's still go time when it should be winding down. In recent episodes, I did talk about what I do to maintain my sleep habits, so make sure to check that out. I think it's called Real Talk About Sleep. You can do this reset move. Keep a consistent bedtime and wake-up time. Dim the lights in the evening. Trade scrolling or doom scrolling for a calming ritual like reading or gentle stretching or journaling. Remember that sleep health equals taking care of your mind, that's clearing racing thoughts, taking care of your body like relaxing your muscles to regulate hormones, and taking care of your environment. And that might mean having cool, dark, and tech-free environment. All of these three angles matter. Don't ignore your sleep habits. Sleep is foundation to both your physical and mental health. Finally, the top number 7 question for this month is this normal? When should I get help? Well, normal is actually a pretty wide range and it looks very different for all of us. We all feel stressed, sad, or distracted sometimes. And again, normal looks different for each and every one of us. We're all unique. I think sometimes the better question to ask ourselves is, whatever it is that I'm experiencing, is this sustainable? Short bursts of stress or low mood are natural signs. But if symptoms persist, get worse, or interfere with your daily life, like how you're showing up at work, at school, in your relationships, or even for yourself, that's more than just normal ups and downs. Instead of asking, is this normal? Try asking, can I keep going like this without hurting my health, work, or relationships? If the answer is no, that's your sign to reach out for support. Remember that help isn't just about therapy or medication. Sometimes the reset is addressing your thoughts, sometimes it's treating the body, and sometimes it's changing your environment. Again, usually all three together. Okay, if you've asked yourself one of those questions, here is a very, very important reminder. Mental health is never one-dimensional. It's a triangle, mind, body, and environment. If one side is off, the whole system feels kind of shaky. That's why I teach these resets that layer across all three. What about trying just one reset today? Close a mental tab, take deep breaths for 60 seconds, or block out 10 minutes just for you. I personally sprinkle a few of these throughout the day, and believe me, I have very long days. Small steps teach your brain it's safe to reset, and those shifts add up. If this episode helped you, please share it with someone who's been asking about some of these very common questions. And a heads up, as we wrap up the year, we'll be sharing a podcast every other week. We're prepping for more practical mental health content on my YouTube channel. If you are interested in that, you can search for Dr. Gretchen Guevara. And this mental health podcast will be focused on recapping highlights from those short videos I'll be sharing over there so you can keep building your mental health toolkit. Okay, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.